Let's call to order the special call meeting of the Muskogee Municipal Authority. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman. Jamie Stout.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Hale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of MMA minutes of October 8th, 2018.
Do we have addition or correction to the minutes of the October 8th meeting?
I make a,
Go ahead.
I make a motion we move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of MMA claims for the month ending October 31, 2018.
Mr. Miller.
Yes, members of the authority, Chairman, you see before you the claims list, including more than $152,000 that's staying in the MMA for capital projects, which is a higher than usual amount. We do recommend approval of these claims.
Move the approval.
A
Second.
motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries, and that concludes the agenda for the MMA meeting. We'll now go to the special call meeting for City Council. This evening, the invocation will be offered by Councilor Jamie Stout, and then we will follow that with a flag salute.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings that you have given to us as we go the beginning of this Thanksgiving week, dear Lord. We have so much to be thankful for. And we just ask that you have your blessing upon our meeting tonight, and we ask this all in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Join us for the flag salute. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman. Jamie Stout.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Patrick Hale.
Here.
Ivory Van.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Okay. We'll now consider our minutes from the October 22nd, 2018 meeting of the City Council. Is there any amendments that need to be made to that, or do we accept them as is?
Move the approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. The consent agenda will now consider items 1 through 8. Is there anything anyone would like to move to a regular agenda? If not, I'd entertain a motion for the consent agenda, items 1 through 8.
Move the approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Regular agenda, item number 9.
Consider approval of the appointment of Philip Russell Sane to the Board of Adjustment for a term beginning November 1, 2018 and ending September 30, 2021, or take other necessary action.
Councilor Wayne Johnson.
Yeah, I've got to know Philip with working with one of the committees that we met the other night, and I would recommend him for serving on this board. I think he'll do an outstanding job. He's part of the Founders Place Committee, and I think he would do an outstanding job. That would be my recommendation.
Does he go by Philip or Russell?
Russell, I believe.
Russell? Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Hale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 10.
Consider approval of the appointment of Jack Bethany to the City Facilities Board, filling the unexpired term of Eric Puckett for a term beginning November 1, 2018, and ending January 31, 2021, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Wayne Johnson again.
I don't know Jack Bethany personally, but I know somebody that knows him pretty well, and comes by a good recommendation, and I would recommend him to serve on this board and the board down below also. That would be my recommendation.
I can tell you he's a good man, and I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 11.
Consider approval of the appointment of Jack Bethany to the War Memorial Trust Authority for a term beginning December 1, 2018, and ending November 30, 2021, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Wayne Johnson again.
Yeah, this would be the same, and if you looked over his resume or know him, he would be perfect for the War Memorial. That would be my recommendation.
Second?
Motion and a second. Is there discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 12.
Consider approval of the appointment of Tim Hollyfield to the Uniform Building Code Appeals Board to serve a 5-year term beginning December 1, 2018, and ending on November 30, 2023, or take other necessary action.
That is my recommendation, and I met Tim as a part of him being involved in construction of the Seventh-day Adventist Church on West Okmulgee, and they were extremely pleased with having him as a contractor involved in their business in building that school. So I make that recommendation and would look for a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comment or discussion regarding Tim Hollifield? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 13.
Consider approval of the appointment of Jack Bohires to the War Memorial Trust Authority, filling the expired term of John Martin, beginning November 1, 2018, and ending September 30, 2021, as approved by the War Memorial Trust Authority on October 17, 2018, or take other necessary action.
Councilor Jamie Stout.
The Trust Authority wanted to recommend Bo to hire to serve on our trust, and so we recommend approval for this one.
Okay.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any comment or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries, and that concludes our agenda for the special call council meeting.
Want to call to order the Finance Committee meeting for November the 19th, 2018. Before we get into the business of the evening, we will have a special recognition of our Employee of the Month by our mayor at this time.
Okay, is Edie McJunkins here? If you would join me down front, if you would.
All right?
Edie, how are you? I'm doing fine. We gotta wait on these older guys to get down here. Edie began working for the city of Muskogee in April of 1992. Dang, that's been a long time ago. As a maintenance worker 1 in the Parks Division. She has held various positions and currently holds a position in Parks and Recreation Maintenance Leader 1. Edie enjoys the people that she works with and working at Honor Heights Park. She can't think of anything that she doesn't like about her job. That's cool. I like that. In her free time, Edie likes to garden, in particular her vegetable garden and community gardens. Edie raises her 2 grandchildren, ages 17 and 10. Edie's granddaughter, Sunny, is a senior at Muskogee High, and her grandson is a 5th grader at Sadler Arts Academy Elementary and is soon to make his debut in the Nutcracker, which is an absolute amazing performance if you haven't seen it. Edie was nominated for striving to go above and beyond her job duties, and provide extraordinary service to the public. She shows up to work with a smile on her face and a can-do attitude. You will never find her in a bad mood or with a negative comment to make. Congratulations on this award. Thank you very much. Mark or Rick, want to make a comment as well?
Thank you, Mayor. I have had the pleasure of working with Edie all but about 4 months of the time she's been here, and I can tell you she is one of the backbones in this department, and I wouldn't trade her for the world.
Don't want to say Boomer Sooner, or you probably noticed Mark's hat. I'm sorry, Rick's hat. Yeah.
See her shirt?
Well, nothing like waiting until the last 40 seconds, but they got it done.
Mayor, did you see her shirt she was wearing? She was wearing an Oklahoma State shirt.
So the whole Parks Department's against us. Huh?
All right, back to the business of the evening. Item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes of November 5th, 2018.
Reviewing of the minutes, are there any corrections or additions to our minutes?
Move the approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Discussion. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 1 passed. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments November 1, 2018 through November 14, 2018.
Do we have a report from the purchasing committee?
Yes, purchasing committee did meet this afternoon, and we did review the claims, had a couple of questions. We do appreciate staff answering those questions, and we would recommend approval of the claims.
A second?
Have a motion and a second to approve the claims. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 2 passed. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval of final payment for construction contract with J.E. Dirt Works in the amount of $7,598.25 for the Muskogee Davis Regional Airport long-term parking lot project, or take other necessary action.
Okay, in the absence of Mike Stewart, we have the airport director.
I'm here for Mike tonight. So this is the final payment for our FBO parking lot, the parking lot behind our fixed-based operator building. It about quadruples the amount of parking we have at the airport. The contractor did a fantastic job, met all of our expectations. The contract came in $10,467 below what the total bid price was, so that was good. And I recommend payment. Thank you. Do you have
Move
any
for
questions?
approval?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve this item. Any discussion or questions?
Drew, I think you're doing a great job out there, and you're making our airport look a lot better. I appreciate you, man.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Kale?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 3 passed. Item number 4, please.
Consider approval to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with ImageNet for Laserfiche document archival system in the amount of $48,903.30 as per state contract, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Cummings?
Evening committee. We need to replace our obsolete document archive system with Laserfiche software from ImageNet of Oklahoma. The software we have now is end of life and end of support. We have concluded the Laserfiche software and services from ImageNet are the best fit for the city of Muskogee and will serve us well into the future. We're asking the council to authorize the city manager to execute a contract with ImageNet for the Laserfiche software and services.
Have any questions for Mr. Cummings?
Move the approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Would like to say we brought this up in Finance Committee, and this is one thing that the city was looking at doing another system, and after a second review, they went to Laserfish, and I think this is just another way that the city and the staff is just doing everything they can to look at the best services they can provide, and I appreciate them taking a second look at this and doing the right thing.
Thank you, Councilman.
All right, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale,
Yes.
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van,
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes.
Dan Hall,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 4 passed. Item number 5, please.
Consider approval of the management agreement for operations between the Roxy Theater Community Trust and Oxford Productions Incorporated, or take other necessary action.
Counselor Stout.
Yes, this was an item that was approved by the trust of the Roxy, and it just needs to have council approval. I'm going to have John Tyler come and discuss the different provisions.
Mr. Attorney, you want to start, or you would rather have me start?
Go ahead.
Okay.
I'll fill in.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Committee, always glad to be here. At our most recent board meeting, the Roxy Theater Community Trust Board unanimously voted approval of this agreement. It is an agreement between the Roxy Trust and Oxford Productions. It's for a 10-year term. Again, that was unanimously approved by the trust, and we would ask approval tonight. Be happy to answer individual questions.
So to clarify why this is being brought forth for the council's consideration, as you know, one of the benefits to creating an independent legal entity is that it gets to operate on its own without our data oversight in the day-to-day operations. However, one of the reasons why this agreement is being brought forward to you for your consideration is because it does create a debt. Think back to how we approve things in Muskogee Municipal Authority, or when we take out notes and other bonds. You know, the trust votes for them, and then in order to approve that, then the city council has to, by a 2/3 majority, approve that. In reviewing the Roxy agreement, because of the length of the term and because of the termination clause, let's say, and lawyers, we have to think of the worst case scenario. If the trust were to terminate the agreement with the Roxy immediately, then there would be a debt that is owed by the trust, which would exceed the amount of financial assets that the trust has. And so as a result, the council is required to take a look at that and decide whether or not to approve it. If the council does approve it, it does not become a debt of the city. It can never be a debt of the city unless it is approved by the voters. But nonetheless, as part of the oversight for its trust, because the city is the beneficiary, the council does have that right to review and to approve or deny any type of indebtedness. The specifics of the agreement related to the day-to-day operations are not, we're not bringing those to you for your consideration to second guess, you know, what the trust thinks that it needs to operate. Specifically, what we're talking about are the provisions in the agreement that would constitute a debt of the trust, and that's what you're being asked to approve today. There is one provision that will be modified at the next meeting of the trust, which is December 6th, and that is section 17.11. The current language of that provision basically says that the trust would pay any attorney fees regardless of who was the victor, if there were any litigation or claims between Oxford and the trust authority. So what the new proposed language would be, which will be taken up at the December 6th meeting, will be to change that language to say that in the event of the lawsuit, the prevailing party, meaning who wins, would be able to seek attorney fees from the other side. So it brings this in line with what is mostly the standard industry practice for dealing with attorney's fees in contracts. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is being brought for you to look at whether or not you want to approve the obligation that will be incurred if this contract is approved. Happy to answer any other questions, and I know Mr. Hammonds is as well.
And the obligation occurred is what exactly?
If I might phrase that differently, potential obligation. No obligation.
It's a contingent
has
obligation,
occurred,
yeah.
and for our purposes, we don't plan for any obligation to ever occur.
Well, sure.
But your question is if it does.
Right.
The termination clause provides that if the trust wants to end its relationship with Oxford, they do so with 30 days' notice. The effect of that is that they pay a termination fee, which represents 50% of the fixed management fee for the remainder of the term. Have I said that accurate?
And again, between you two, to be clear, but there's no obligation from the citizens, from the city.
Correct.
Absolutely not, Councilman.
Okay. How much is that obligation?
If it is the management fee is $4,000 a month for the first 12 months, and then $5,000 for every month up to the remaining 10 years. So, if the trust took action next month to terminate this agreement, the fee would be around $260,000 based on my quick and dirty math in my head.
Okay, that's pretty close to what I have too.
Okay.
My next question is we still own the Roxy. The trust votes to accept this, which they already have. That's why we got it for us. Mm-hmm. Then you turn around and we do have to do this.
You talking about the termination?
Yes,
Okay.
the termination. Does it not? How does it not come back on the city since it's ours? Does the trust? Where's the trust come up with the money at if they don't have it?
If they don't have it, it's a bad debt. I mean, there can be no attachment on the property simply because the property, if you remember, when we created the trust, we did not deed the property directly to the Roxy in fee simple, which means they can do whatever they want to with it. We submitted it, transferred the title into a deed of trust.
Okay.
So it always has to be in trust, held in trust for the citizens. So it can't be attached. It can't be forced to be liquidated, if that's kind of what you're asking.
Could they get a judgment that eventually they'd have to pay out the $240,000 to plus?
They absolutely could get a judgment, but it would depend on what available assets there were, and I mean cash assets, because the building itself wouldn't be able to be considered because the trust does not own fee title to that.
Okay. I like everything in this thing but that. I just, that's where I'm twisted at right now.
I'm inclined, unless others have further questions, I'm inclined to ask the trustees, the board members, to take a final look to see that they can make a commitment to fulfill the terms of the contract as is proposed. And if they believe so, I'm inclined to support them. It looks like we do have some house cleaning to do
With that attorney fee provision.
regardless of taking another look or not taking another look at all the terms. I'm inclined to support them. What I'd suggest is we get it cleaned up, have the trust present their final document, and we can support it.
Are the trustees insured and bonded?
I don't know about it at this time.
Yeah, I don't know. They've only had one meeting, so
part of the agreement would be that Oxford Productions would maintain insurance, I think, up to $1 million. I'd have to remember the exact provision, but that's part of the agreement that the trust approved, that Oxford Management at its expense will maintain insurance for the various events that might occur at the Roxy.
I just think it would be really wise for the trust authority to make sure that they individually are insured. I mean, this is a legal question.
I agree, Mr. Johnson.
Because it could be some personal liability.
Well, the trust document that was approved about a year ago agrees to indemnify the individual members against any liability, and that's included in most of our trust documents.
Okay.
But there is insurance, liability insurance, that is provided to cover them from Oxford or who was the management company before that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I mean, everything about Oxford and their programs and everything and the way they run the Roxy, I don't have a complaint with. I just would like a little bit that cleared up a little better because I don't like looking at $240,000, even if we're not directly involved, somehow we're going to be involved.
Well, and I do want to clarify, just so there's no misunderstanding. I mean, that provision related to the termination occurs at the time of termination. So if we're looking at 5 years down the road and they want to separate their relationship, it's not going to be $240,000. It's going to be about half that. So just to
That's
clarify,
still $120,000.
No, and I'm not addressing the wisdom of this at all. I'm simply wanting to make sure that it's clear to you all that you understand that this agreement is the termination fee is a sliding scale depending on the length of the term remaining.
Then that's
for
the
the
bad
agreement.
part. The good part is you got 30 days to pay it.
Yeah.
When is the next meeting of the trust? Did you
December
say the
6th.
6th of December?
At 11 a.m.
Okay, all right.
What is the pleasure of the council as far as taking action?
Do
I'd
we
like to
need a
kick it back
motion
to
in this
them.
regard?
I'd like to make a motion, we kick it back to them and have them redo some of this stuff and kick it back, give it back to us.
Okay. So, and that would be specifically related to the termination clause and the and I say
At least put something in it that doesn't look like we're going to be out $240,000 no matter what.
We're not
or
out
120.
240.
Huh?
We're not going to be out 240 or 50 or 60.
But I don't want it tied up in the Roxy either, because that's still our property. I don't want someone have to incur that debt somewhere. That's the way I'm looking at this, and now I may be wrong, but that's the way I'm looking at it.
I think you may be wrong.
Well, I've been wrong before, but I'd like to get that cleared up before we do this anymore. Go farther with it.
What I would suggest, and again, I'm inclined to support the trust. I did ask that maybe they take a second look at everything to make sure that they could make a commitment to fulfill that contract. That's what everybody needs to do when they sign an agreement. Outside of that, I suppose Mr. Hall can get a little bit more clarification on his end. So I would suggest that we have the language cleared up that you had first talked about, and have the trust, and then have them have the trust present the final document as they want it with that language in it, and go from there. And whether they want to make a few other changes or not, be their pleasure. And then whether people on the council want to support it or not, it'll be their pleasure.
Would your motion include that other parts of the contract could be looked at as well, or is it specific
Well, that's
to one area of the agreement?
that would be up to the trust. I mean, the agreement's not valid until we approve it because it creates a debt. But if you want to send it back, then I think you could refer the agreement back to clean up the language on the attorney fee section, and you could also ask that the trustees make a plan for dealing with the liability, if that's one of the things that you're concerned about.
I think that would satisfy everybody up here.
As long as the trust has the authority to make whatever adjustments they choose, I agree, but let's don't get too specific in the areas that we want to.
If they don't want to make another change, personally,
I'm not talking if they don't.
I'm
talking
okay
if
with
they
it.
do want to make another change. Do we have that latitude?
The trust would.
Not us.
Right.
Does the trust have that latitude? Okay, all right.
So here's what I'm hearing. That we want to make a motion to refer the management agreement back to the trust to modify the language in section 17.11 relating to the attorney fee provision, as well as request that the trust make a plan for dealing with the liability contained within the termination clause.
That sounds good to me. I'd be happy.
Sounds to me like we're being awful specific.
Okay.
Or make any other changes as needed.
There's a couple other areas I want to address in it, but I can do that at the trust authority level.
Well, you are a trustee. That's true.
that's why I would just soon throw it back, let them we can share our concerns, but let them do what they will do.
Okay.
I don't want to tell them,
Let's don't
Okay.
get into specific
Yes.
areas that we're gonna,
So then.
I don't want to micromanage that trust.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
At all.
So then but at the same time, we want them to know, well, I guess then that can be
Mr.
conveyed
Attorney,
by-
if I might, I
Yeah.
certainly, I will be at that next board meeting. Maybe the recommendation would be to reconsider what the trust determines to be appropriate to reconsider, and then let the trustees bring back the proposal they feel is best for the trust.
We'll just basically refer it back to the trust for further action. It's a very simple.
I'll be happy to carry the council's message to the trustees.
so is that the motion? Okay.
I mean, that's the proposed motion. Someone has
So
to make
moved.
it.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the floor. Is everyone clear on?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Jenny Boydston,
Yes.
Patrick Kale,
Yes?
Wayne Johnson,
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed,
Yes.
Dan Hall,
Yes.
Jamie Stout,
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 5 passed, and with that passing, that is the final item for the Finance Committee.
We'll now call to order the Public Works Committee meeting for November the 19th. Item number 1.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of November 5th, 2018.
Everybody's had time to review the minutes. Any
Move the
questions?
approval.
Move for approval? Motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Got a motion and a second? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Jenny Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale,
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 1 passes. Item number 2.
Consider approval of resolution number 2743, recognizing and declaring the second Monday in October as Native American Day in the city of Muskogee, or take other necessary action.
This is Councilor Van's agenda item. I would like to bring to awareness to the council that we do have 6 people signed up to speak to this item. Councilor Van.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. It's a privilege and an honor to do this item, to present this item to the committee. I've been dealing with the Indian community a long time, ever since Robertson Park. And I've been to Native American Day, Indigenous Day. I can't hardly pronounce that name, but I'm going to do my best. But as I look out in the audience and I see how beautiful the people are, if we had a camera just to shoot the audience, and this young lady over here, the way she's dressed, I mean, it's magnificent. You know, that's the way people should come together. We're all one. We're not separate. We're all one as people. So, like I say, I went in Tulsa to Indigenous Day, and 2 times. And I've definitely had a lovely time seeing the different culture and the way people dress, and just like to say the city council in Tulsa, they approved this day for the Native American Day. They didn't take away Columbus Day. They just made it Native American Day also. We're not taking away Columbus Day at all, but we are trying to make it Native American Day. And the people that is going to speak, I know them all personally, all except one gentleman. I just met him, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. But like I said, I hope the committee sees what I see in this and can make Muskogee a better place. And like I say, when you go to the event in Tulsa, I was in the parade in Tulsa. It was a gentleman with the Cherokee Nation. He made a float last year, and we rode on it. And like I say, everything was just put together so well. You know, and so I like to turn it over to the floor, the speakers, so they can say what they feel about this Native American Day. And like I said, it's just a wonderful day. And plus, another thing is up here, it's not just the creek up here; it's different tribes. I know you got the creek, Cherokee, Choctaw, Comanche. See, different tribes are all for this day. Navajo. I'm sorry if I leave any out because I don't know everyone now. But like I said, it's just an honor to have y'all here, and hopefully this committee will approve everything. And like I say, it's a good cause. So I'm ready for this first speaker if y'all are.
Okay. If the committee would so choose, we'll call the speakers now. On the Public Works agenda, we have 5 minutes for each speaker to speak. If you would come to the podium, and if you would adjust the mic where we can make sure and hear you. because what you speak is very important for us to hear. If you would give your name and address for us. The first one would be, and if I pronounce your name incorrectly, please forgive me, be Mike Tyrobo. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Terrelbo. I live at 420 Elmira Street here in Muskogee. I brought this motion up to you on October 8th before about changing Columbus Day to Indigenous People Day. I'm not going to speak long. I just would ask that you would consider this resolution. I've got several people I've talked to that's going to speak more. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Second speaker would be Jessup Brown.
My name is Jessina Brown. I live at 734 South 29th Street. I am a new resident. I say new, but I've been here about 11 years. I'm also a proud member of the Muskogee Creek Tribe, a board member of the Muskogee Indian community, which we have approximately about 300 members enrolled, but that's not counting the ones that's not active in our community. But we also recognize other tribes. We have intertribal here. Like we said, we have a whole different tribe. And I'm just here to be the supporter on this this issue. I mean, not the issue, but this thing we have going here for not changing Columbus Day, but adding to it so we can be recognized as we've always been here. And a lot of people, you know, doesn't really recognize us a whole lot. So I'm just here to represent the Muskogee Indian community, and I thank y'all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next would be Linda Sachs.
Linda Sachs, 200 North Country Club Road here in Muskogee. And I just want to commend the Honorable Mr. Van for at least naming 6 of the 570 tribes out there. So he did better than most, I guess. But thank you. So I want to say good evening. Thank you, Mayor, City Council, and to the devout citizens of Muskogee for being here tonight in support of our community and this resolution. Resolution 2743, recognizing and declaring the second Monday in October Native American Day in the city of Muskogee. It is imperative cities such as ours continue to push forward with progress, and it starts with proclamations and resolutions such as these. Resolutions heard from its citizens and protected and instilled by our city leaders. Recently, the Mashpee Wampanoag people, who are most famously known for their kindness, and it being attributed to them the survival of the Pilgrims in what is known today and celebrated as the first Thanksgiving among millions of Americans, lost their trust land, lost their reservation, lost their ability to thrive as a people, and this is the thanks they're given. This is a tremendous blow to our tribe, without whom America's earliest settlers would not have survived, and it should be also it should also be alarming to tribal nations all across Indian country, wrote Mashpee Wampanoag Tribal Chairman Cedric Cromwell in response to the Department of Interior's decision. All Native nations watch in anticipation of what could possibly happen, because as an Indian nation, we all know what happens to one can happen to us all. This is why it's imperative to act now, to show in any and all ways the respect Native Indian nations deserve, because without this nation, it would not be what it is today. The land that so many Americans love could not possibly be this nation if it weren't for the Wampanoag centuries ago. Not only to the Wampanoag, but to the code talkers of World War II, and to the likes of Dennis Banks and Vine Deloria, and to Oklahoma's very own Susan Harjo, and to my chief, who was loved worldwide by indigenous nations across this globe, the late chief of the Cherokee Nation, Wilma Mankiller. Again, America would not be a fraction of what it is today if it weren't for these and others like them, possibly others that fill this room today. Muskogee, the city I love so dearly, the city that brings me back home time and time again, shares a border with 2 of the largest tribes in America, and one being the largest tribe in the United States today, my tribe, the Cherokee Nation. Not only does Oklahoma contain a rich legacy of indigenous people, as it is Indian territory, but so does the city of Muskogee, as it bears the name of a tribe that settled here after their forced removal. It is time for Muskogee to be a leader in the state and nation once again, and it starts with steps like these. Let's get on the right side of history, dispel the myth of Christopher Columbus, and move forward not only for us, but for all Indian nations, for the code talkers of the Choctaw and the Diné, and for our brothers and sisters of the Wampanoag. Let us celebrate each other by moving forward. Starting today, may we rightfully declare, at the very least, every second Monday in October henceforward as Native American Peoples Day. In closing, the youngest person ever elected to Congress, just this past Tuesday, Congresswoman-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Sunday proposed getting rid of Columbus Day as a holiday when Saturday she tweeted, "How was Columbus Day a holiday?" Hopefully when our children are grown, they won't have to ask that question anymore, but rather celebrate truth and the genuine contributions their ancestors before them made. May this be one of those days. Yakoke, Mado, Hahau, Wado. Thank you.
Thank you. Next would be Roshana White.
Good afternoon, or evening, I'm sorry. Good evening. I'm Roshan White. I'm from Gallup, New Mexico, and She'e Roshan White in She'e na Kainan Lishlan Sanji Bachchi, Disclaim Dashe Dokiani A Dashanale. And I am currently a student at Bacone College, and I'm a freshman, and here it goes. We've all heard of the story of Christopher Columbus, who sailed the ocean blues in 1492, and the rest is history. We've all heard of the great sailor that discovered America. From then on, it only makes sense to celebrate the ideal image we've all grown up on. And what other ways to idolize this great Italian hero than to honor him with a holiday? However, what if we knew otherwise? What if instead we took another look back into history? Would we still honor a man who today would be considered a terrorist? A man who used religion as a rationale? Christopher Columbus was a man of greed and intolerance. Columbus raped, manipulated, and stole from the indigenous people that saved his life. Where is their story? Where do they stand? I asked the City Council of Muskogee to stop honoring a man who killed in the name of greed. We should tell the stories of the Taino, the tribe that no longer exists due to colonialism. Remember and honor the men, women, and children who had lost their lives in the names of manifest destiny, exploitation, and greed. I want for us as indigenous people to let our voices be heard and honor the lives of these that came before us, who fought for us, that give us the strength to speak to you today. Let our stories be told instead of forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next will be Rosalind King.
Hello, my name is Rosalind Brown King. Sorry about that. First, I want to give honor to God, and I also want to thank you for letting me speak.
Can you speak a little louder for us?
There we go.
Thank you. Again, my name is Rosalind Brown King, and I just want to give honor to God and thank y'all for all for letting us speak.
Could you give us your address? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's 1125 North 3rd Street in Muskogee, Oklahoma. I'm here today on, a lot of people are not aware of also a lot of the Indians had slaves. So what took place was there were slave holders. And I am Cherokee freedman also. And so what I feel like it needs to be us to come together as a whole. On August the 31st, 2018, Judge Hogan acknowledged the Cherokee freedmen, ruled in our favor. That was the start of the healing process through the Cherokee Nation. They acknowledged us, and now they're all, wanting us to come together And I just pray that this door will open for all us to come together and be as a whole. The opportunity that we have right now in working together will bring a lot of love, care, and showing people that it is time for us to let all the prejudice and the different things that is taking place that shouldn't take place. So again, I'm here on the behalf of the Cherokee Freemen. Again, this is the opportunity for us to come and make a stand and help each other to be as a whole. And I thank y'all.
Ms. King. Next would be Sarah Boston. Is Sarah Boston here? Oh, there we are.
I didn't know I was going to be last.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Boston. My address is 2620 Irving Street. I appreciate your time being here before City Council. I never thought I'd see myself being here in front of you. I'd also like to thank Mr. Ivory Van for putting us on the agenda and giving us the opportunity to speak before you here. Just a couple of things that I wanted to mention is just my own personal experience. I didn't know anything other than Columbus being this great hero, that basically saved us from ourselves. It was in 3rd grade when I got the lead role in the Columbus Day parade or play at school. And I went home and I was so excited, and I told my parents, and my dad threw a fit. And he said, absolutely no, absolutely not. And I said, why is this? And he said, let me show you why. He took me to the library. He told the librarian, give her some books. So I sat there and read while he read the newspaper over on the side, and I read about the horrible things, just like this young lady back here mentioned, about the horrible things and the injustices that he put before us as Native people. Just not Native people, but indigenous people. We're all together in this. We're all indigenous, whether we're tribe. I'm Choctaw and I'm Kiowa Apache. But I learned the hard way by reading on my own what happened, what actually happened. And I didn't attend school that day. I don't send my children to school that day because I fear what is being taught to them. Because not everybody is so educated on what he actually did, what actually happened. He never really actually made it to North America like people think. So I encourage and I tell my children, read about this. And, my girls, I have 4 daughters, and they read about this all the time. And Muskogee, we are so enriched in our heritage with Native American culture, especially with the Creek Nation. That's where Muskogee got its name. It just happened to be that they got the spelling wrong. So, we're here at, Muskogee Creek Nation because of the Katy district and the railroads and so forth, which I'm sure many of you are aware of. I'm not going to give you a history lesson. However, Muskogee is the backyard and the boundaries for Creek Nation and the Cherokee Nation. We're right here. Okmulgee already has it in place. Tahlequah has it in place. Tulsa has it in place. I don't want us to be the only city with our such rich heritage in Native American culture, as we're still known as the Indian capital of the world. I don't know if many of you know that the 5 civilized tribes was actually the first Indian agency. That's actually known as Agency Hill. That was where basically your first Bureau of Indian Affairs was. It's where the Sequoia Convention, where they proposed to have basically natives they proposed to have the state of Sequoia. And it was vetoed by President Roosevelt and forgotten by Congress. Then we were enacted as a state, but they had already proposed this before we were even a state. So it's very, very important to me. I had gone to Ivory with this, and I'm so glad that he was able to help me out a little bit. But I just cannot express enough that we were in this together. We were moved here, Trail of Tears. We brought our, we were forced to bring our slaves with us. So I just beg you to please let us have this. It'll be a great celebration. You won't regret it. And if you will pass this, I'd like to get a picture with everybody. Thank you so much.
I'd like to express my appreciation to all the speakers tonight that spoke on this item. We typically, the committee has speakers, but tonight we got a history lesson. So I know we can replay this tonight later on for some of the schools also. So if it would be, what would be the pleasure of the council? Mr. Van, would you like to?
I was going to say one thing,
Okay.
Councilman Johnson, if it's okay. I'll be recognized.
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to, I don't know the lady's name, the young lady. I'd like for her to come up to the mic and give her name and let the audience see how pretty this young lady is.
Hi, my name is Coley Boyd. I go to Muskogee High School. I'm a senior, and I'm here representing the Katuah tribe of Cherokee Indians. That's in Tahlequah. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Mr. Miller, would you like to make a statement?
Yes, I think it'd be good to honor a dignitary or to acknowledge Joyce Deere from the Creek Nation Tribal Council has joined us this evening, and I want to thank you very much for your presence this evening and for all that Creek Nation does for our community and the partnerships that we built. Thank you for
Mr.
being
Miller.
here.
Thank you very much.
Make a motion, we move for approval.
Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Jenny Boydston.
Yes.
Patrick Kale.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Ivory Van.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Yes.
Jamie Stout.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item number 2 passes. Item number 3.
Consider approval of resolution number 2744, adopting a countywide multi-jurisdiction hazard mitigation plan, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Frazier.
Mayor and Council, good evening. My name is Jeremy Frazier, and I'm the Emergency Manager for the City of Muskogee, as well as the Community Services Supervisor for the City of Muskogee. I thank you for the opportunity to address this body regarding the adoption of the 2018 Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan. Before I receive any questions regarding the plan document, I would like to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the County of Muskogee, its Emergency Management Director, Jeff Smith, and the emergency management staff for their leadership and direction in the production of this detailed document. Also, special thanks is owed to the various participating communities throughout the County of Muskogee and planning team members, which include Fire Chief Mike Odell of the City of Muskogee Fire Department for their extensive contributions that they've made to this plan document. This document was created using FEMA's State Mitigation Plan Guide. So if you were to look at the City of Broken Arrow, they just recently adopted a plan in 2017. And what you'll notice is the plan document outline looks exactly the same as what we have here. It is a state layout, outline, and format. As outlined in the document that you've received, the purpose is to assess the ongoing hazard mitigation activities in Muskogee County and participating jurisdictions, identify and assess the hazards that pose a threat to citizens and property, evaluate additional mitigation measures that should be undertaken, and outline a strategy for implementation and monitoring of those mitigation measures. However, the final reason that you want to consider adoption is that a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan is also a condition for receiving certain types of non-emergency disaster assistance, including funding for mitigation projects. The adoption of this plan would satisfy those FEMA and state requirements. That said, staff would recommend approval and adoption of the Resolution 2744, accepting the 2018 Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan.
Thank you, Mr. Frazier. Any questions from staff? One, I've got a comment on this item. I'm really thankful for the county and the city and all the jurisdictions that worked on this plan. I know this has been taking some time to get this updated. Some of you may be familiar with the Tony Getz safe room. This come out of the last time that the community had a multi-hazard jurisdiction hazardous mitigation plan. It was paid for by 75% of it was paid for because we had a plan in place. So without this, we can't apply for any of those funds. So I'm really glad to see this come to fruition. Any other comments by staff? By committee? Do I have a motion?
Move the approval.
Second.
You had Mr. Frazier?
I was just going to add that this document has been in development since 2015, so it's nothing recent. It's been a long process.
It takes a long time to get there.
So I say I've seen everybody chasing around after to get all this document signed and everything else.
It is a long process. So I know it took a long time to get there, but it reaps big benefits. I know the last one brought in about $300,000 from Muskogee Public Schools on that safe room. So very glad. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Hale?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
Item number 3 passes. Item number 4.
Consider approval to reject the sole bid for the new Public Works Services building from Builders Unlimited and direct staff to review scope of work and have the project rebid or take other necessary action.
Mr. Riley.
Yes, this was for our public works services building. We put it out for bid. We only got one bid. We did get lots of comments from some possible bidders, so we understand where some of the problems are. So we're going to go back, regroup, and put together a different package and a different way of getting this done. It fits our budget.
One bid's never a good situation.
No.
So do I have a motion to reject?
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Janie Boydston?
Yes.
Patrick Hale?
Yes.
Wayne Johnson?
Yes.
Ivory Van?
Yes.
Derek Reed?
Yes.
Dan Hall?
Yes.
Jamie Stout?
Yes.
Mayor Coburn?
Yes.
The next item is recognition of citizens wishing to speak to council. I have one from Mr. Van. Description was a thank you. Mr. Van, you'll have 3 minutes to address the...
Ivory Van, 4338 Columbus Street, Muskogee, Oklahoma, 74401. I would like to give a thank you to Sheriff Frazier. We've been working on a project together, and it's good to cooperate with different ones with the county. I've worked with the county treasurer before on the projects, but Mr. Frazier, he came through and gave me some good news today, and I just want to thank him publicly for doing all what he did for me on this project. And also, I'd like to thank the mayor, city manager, and all the council for allowing me to go to the National League of Cities. I stayed there 2 weeks. I stayed overtime. But I learned a lot from the National League of Cities, and everyone should go to the National League of Cities because you meet a lot of councilmen, you meet a lot of mayors, you meet a lot of city managers, you meet a lot of people, and you become friends. I've been going 4 years now. I've learned a lot. You know, if you notice that picture downstairs, that was because I went to one of the council in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And that way, when the mayors was downstairs, we seen the mayors when we hit the elevator, but we didn't see the councilman at all. But now we go down there, we see the councilman when people come up here. And also the security. We got security downstairs now, just like the Fayetteville, North Carolina had. So like I say, this time I learned and met different other councilmen. And I gave Mr. Miller some material today, and also be bringing some treats and stuff up here to the city that I receive when I go to those National Leagues of Cities. And also I belong when I went, I'm a member of the Black Caucus. And the Black Caucus, they do a lot of work in their communities, and it's an honor and a privilege to be a member with them. Matter of fact, they gave me a shawl. And when you give you a shawl, that means that you're really an honorary member. So I appreciate the Black Caucus for doing that. But again, I'd like to thank the city of Muskogee for allowing me the opportunity to go to Los Angeles, California, and to bring back information. And on my own time, I really had a good time also. And I met movie stars, And when I say I met movie stars and people that had money, I met people that had money. And what was there's a guy named Byron Reed, Darlene Jackson. They used to live here in Muskogee. And when I say doing well in Los Angeles, California, they're doing very well in Los Angeles, California. And they'll be here probably sometime this year. And I'm going to bring them up to the council. I'm going to introduce them because I'm proud of them because they represent our city well in Los Angeles, California. So I'd just like to say thank you again. And I'll turn the floor back over to you, Mr. Chairman.
That concludes our Public Works meeting tonight. Thank you very much.